even though it was a hard road,
Yes.
I look back and I say, wow, I actually did it. And even now, I have on my bookshelf, I created all like my words that I got throughout school, so I could keep reminding myself I did that for me.
Welcome to the Shan and Tam Show.
Hello, Shan and Tam fam, and welcome to another episode of the Shan and Tam Show. Since our first discussion on the topic of ADHD, we've received so much positive feedback and encouragement. We believe that this taboo topic within our community is something that we need to talk about more. Thus, the reason we're here with you today.
Yes, Shan, it has really been encouraging to get the feedback and the comments from people all over.
Yes.
People have been feeling so encouraged about the fact that we're actually having this discussion.
Absolutely.
And so we thought it was good for us to get another perspective, for us to get someone with an additional lived experience, an adult who has the diagnosis of ADHD and learning disabilities. So today we have a special guest, Ed, who is willing to share his life with us. And we're hoping that we'll be able to learn just a little bit more about this diagnosis, this disorder, and as well living with special needs and learning disabilities. So let's welcome Ed.
Much for meeting with Tam and I today just to talk about this very important topic of ADHD. You're so brave and we applaud your courage. Tam and I have a few questions for you today and just want you to be open and free and to be comfortable. But so before we start, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your childhood.
My name is Ed, or Eddie. My childhood started for me to having ADHD started since I was in kindergarten. I was diagnosed in kindergarten. I was slow of speech, so I never speak until I was in grade 8. I found my voice through music. I gone through a lot of choirs. That's where I had learned how to speak. I actually learned how to read my Bibles through church choirs and stuff. My mom being always pushing forward for me to getting speech therapy. I did that, learned how to speak properly. I couldn't say certain words because I would always stutter my words and slur. So time after time, I would hear myself stutter, but people, I hear it, but I could hear it in myself that I'm stuttering. It just me learning how to take in my thoughts and slow it down.
Right.
As Caribbean folks, we speak fast, and sometimes our words and our thoughts do not combine together. So I always had difficulty because I had the accent, because when I came here around, I was like 5'8". So I had a really hard time switching back and forth from English to my native accent. So I didn't know how to. I don't have it now.
That's okay. Where are you born?
Where are you born? Where are you originally from?
I was born in Jamaica, and then I came here and I was raised here with my mom. So I lived with my grandmother from being raised with my grandmother. I came here, and ever since I was living with my mom here, and then my grandmother came and she raised me a bit here. So I was with both my grandpa and my mom.
So Ed, you're an official yard man, just like
Yep, I'm a yardie.
yard is for life, Ed. So So you were diagnosed at a very early age then,
Yeah.
right?
In kindergarten.
In kindergarten. And we know you did tell us about the ADHD, but were you diagnosed with anything else?
I was diagnosed with intellectual disability, um, autism, and I had a combinational disability. So, but because I'm an adult, they couldn't diagnose me with the ADHD, and they wanted to say I don't have the hypertension, so
Okay.
they call it um, ADD. But when I reached into the shelter, as you guys knew that I was homeless, I was able to get proper health care where they got me to psychiatrist, and they're like, no, you do have ADHD, because they tried to take me off my medication, and that was their worst nightmare ever. And
Okay.
so I was put into a institution so that they could help calm me down. And when I was given the meds, I was actually a lot more calm.
Okay. So that sounds like it was a lot for you as a child, Ed. And just listening to you, what was school like for you with the various diagnoses that you received?
School was really hard for me because the fact, well, it just like doing tasks was more the hardest part for me. But I love learning. It was me because I couldn't read so well, so I always had a what do you call it, a teacher assistant.
Right.
So I always had her throughout kindergarten. I had her throughout middle school. So wherever I went, she came with me. She like, oh, I'm not leaving you. She even told my mom, wherever he's going, I will be there. And she followed me. And then it was only until high school I never had her anymore. And that's where we had to depart because she had finished her retirement. She reached her retirement age. So I had a lot of struggles with this the reading part, but I enjoy school because I see that my mark was getting good because the teacher would read out my answer for me, and I could just ask her questions just like this, and then she would tell me then, okay, we just go slowly, write down everything. So I would be able to write down things that I could manage to stay. So and they noticed that I was a visual learner.
Right.
So they had helped me to memorize things. And so I was able to grasp a lot of things by memory. That way, when I was a child, because I was watch videos, I remember certain things from that video. Like I would see like an image, I would know what that image was about. So it was different when I reached to middle school because the video aid was no longer available in middle school. So I would have to learn another new way to learning because now the learning style is more advanced. And I have learned how to create new steps for myself where I tried to keep myself organized. My mom had taught me how to color code with everything for myself. So if there's a certain subject, like for example, English, if there's a certain thing that I need to remember, she will help me color code. And she would like, okay, what color is this? Instead of saying this is red, I would say this is the color for remember what points are, what memory like commas are, how where to put commas and stuff like that. So that's learn how to remember how to create stuff for myself. And also in high school, it was kind of a little bit more difficult because now I can't really do the color coding or the videoing. I had to find other ways of doing it. But I actually got through with high school with flying colors, and I want to stay for another 4 years. They're like, why? I wanted to prove to them I can do the advanced level. I don't know if you remember how back then it was advanced, general, and no basic, advanced, no basic, general, advanced, and then you had your grade 13 and your OSCs. So I told them I want to go through all these levels and prove to you guys that I want to get to that top, because I was more now into myself, and I was more like grounded at this time. And like, okay, I just don't want to go to college and they just think that I was just doing this basic level.
Right.
And I want them to see that I could do more this basic. So they told me, okay, show us what you could do. You can stay here as long as you can get everything all done within the 4 years. And they were very surprised that I got everything all done within the 4 years, after 4 years that they gave me. And I also finished grade 13. And I'm just really proud of myself, because I didn't think I was going to manage that stressful
that period
life, because now everybody's older than I'm older than them, and then I have to explain why I'm in this class and why I'm still here, and then my mom's like, you don't have to explain everything to everybody. You know why you're there. You just go do it and get it done.
And you
So
yeah. So it sounds to me, Ed, like there were benefits to you being diagnosed early, because you were able to get the help that you needed, right?
Yeah.
From an early age. And then also it really allowed you to, and like your mom and whoever your resources were, your support, to work together to find the best ways for you to really learn and to accomplish what you yourself were set out to do.
Even though it was a hard road, I look back and I say, wow, I actually did it. And even now I have on my bookshelf, I created all like my words that I got throughout school, so I could keep reminding myself I did that for me. Family members like to put me down because they think that I would never accomplish to anything. So even now, my hardest part was leaving college because it was getting tough, and then I had to be homeless, and then I had a lot of things in the background trying to find a place for me. A factor, so I had to leave school. So basically, I had that up so I could keep reminding myself, no matter what your family are saying to you, you remember you already did it in the past. You can still do it again. It's just all process. So, like even with me being sick, I'm so teaching myself, giving myself credit for the things that I have done.
Yes, and you know what, Ed? Like Tam and I sitting here listening to you, you have a lot of courage. And one of the things that we wrote about was not allowing your diagnosis to define you. And you have proved that, to say that you pushed past certain things and you really found other ways to learn, right? Which is one of the unique things about children or adults with ADHD. They don't learn the normal, quote unquote, normal way as to what society would require of them, but they step outside of the box and you made it work. And we just want to commend you for being so courageous and so strong.
So we talked a bit about, the earlier years, even transition to high school. What was it like transitioning into adulthood and now, having to probably be out there in the world of work and so on? What was that like for you?
Very hard. It's like now I'm an adult. I was re-diagnosed with all these mental health issues, also physical health issues, and now all of these combinational disability. I have worked with CRA. I have worked with driver license. Biggest fear was if I tell them about my disability, would they still keep me on? And most of the time, they didn't want to keep me on, but they see that I was doing good work,
Right.
so they would keep me on for 1 or 2 years, and then I transitioned to another job.
Okay.
So that was my struggle to like saying I have a disability and then seeing the boss react differently because they know that they don't know how to handle it.
Oh,
And
okay.
being on a panel, trying to help the government to creating a what do you call it, a system for people with disability, and what did that look like. And I even said we shouldn't have to disclose what our diagnosis and then having the employer turn back and firing us. There should be a way that the system could work for us as who do have learning disability or any kind of disability to working for us instead of working against us. And my mom had never made me shy away saying this is why I have, but she wanted me to hit it, but it's not where hitting where I have to be afraid of the word. Like my mom always didn't want me to be defined by my disability.
Right.
So that was her biggest fear. Like, okay, how am I was going to be raised? So for her, she thought that, okay, toughening me up will help me to getting into the workforce or getting to things. So it was kind of difficult just to explain to the boss, like, oh, this is not like the end result. I could do more than my,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
What people perceive to be,
Yeah.
or what people might think that you're only limited to do.
Yes.
And I feel like, I mean, just based on my experience too from work, like maybe over the years, we have probably made strides in the workplace, right? Like there's a lot of emphasis on ensuring that accommodations are given for people, because it doesn't mean that you can achieve anything less. It just means that you might have to work a different way.
Yes.
Right? So,
And finding a way for the employer and the, I guess, employee,
yes.
what worked for both people, and that
Yes.
both party could be happy. And one of my other things was, because I'm 7-day Adventist, I also had that factor that I can't work on a Saturday, and trying to explain, okay, I have these two factors going against me. Now, what am I going to do? Having that fear that, okay, I now have two things that's working against me. How am I going to tell people?
I love how you're creative, right? So it's like you get in, you build a rapport, and then it exposes to them. And the fact of the matter is, you shouldn't have to feel ashamed,
right,
or to talk about your diagnosis, but that's just the reality at times, because some people are not able to process it or to receive it, right? Which leads us to asking you, like, what treatments have you done since receiving your diagnosis of your learning disability and ADHD? What are some of the treatment options you can speak on?
I've been to psychiatrists. I've been to different avenues to helping me to stay focused, where they would bring me to other facilities and leave me there overnight and see how I best work. And I guess they videotape and write notes.
Like an inpatient treatment?
Yes.
Okay.
I did something at CAMH. If they need a record done, CAMH is the best place to be, because they could draw out information from childhood and combine it with your adulthood and make a case for you.
Okay.
Basically, that's what happened with me. I spent a week with other treatments that I went through in the city. They helped me to providing like testing. I don't know if your son has to do like that blocks thing. I'm like, I'm an adult, you making me do kids game. I'm like, no, need to see how you work with this. Just
Yeah.
allow us to do our job. And I was getting frustrated because there were 13 things that I couldn't do. I'm like, why can I get this? Like, we will explain later. So there was one part where, for the first time in my life, I realized I did have ADHD because I didn't. I did understood that I had it, but it was never explained to me. It was always, oh, we're working on it. Let's just keep going with the flow. Let's keep going with the flow. It's not until I became a full adult when I started requiring about my own medication.
Okay.
I need to be medicated. Why nobody's not giving me medication? Why can I get this? Why can I get that? Is this like I remember taking Ritalin, and Ritalin had made me hallucinate. I was seeing things, and
Wow.
this by taking that medication, it made me lost all my hair. And
Oh.
so this is why I always have my hair like this to remind me I would never go back to that state again.
Okay.
And medication process was really hard because I just defining which one
Right.
for me, because not every medication would work, right?
Right.
So
Right.
that was really my biggest channel to. I remember going to my family doctor, like, you need to take me off of all of these medications. I remember talking to Tina, and Tina, like, you need to go to your doctor and tell him to take you off of X, Y, Z now. Because I told her my experience, she's like, this medication is making you hallucinate. This medication is making you do some stuff because of this medication. It was what's the word? Intertwining with each other.
So, like, I'm hearing you say, like, just say that it's important for you to really know, be informed, like, for you to be educated about the different options. And it's also important that whoever you're working with, like even in terms of your doctor, that they explain to you like the pros and cons of the different possible medications or the different options, because there are things that you weren't aware of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like, it sounds to me as if if the conversation, like if the real conversation about your condition, the diagnosis, really what it means, maybe started from earlier for you, then some of the things that you were only just finding out about in adulthood, like maybe you would have been more aware or alert about. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also good
You,
to
you
have.
got.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. You also got to remember, I came in a time where kids should not be deemed as that. So I was beating as a child to saying, "Oh, you better not say that you have ADHD." So, like for me, you told me to sit here, I will be on the other side. If you told me to just stand still, I would be like, I want something.
Yeah.
So like for me, like now thinking of it, when I was like, when you gave me these questions to think, I was like, wow, there's certain time should not have been beaten and being punished for. I could have been medicated. Like when I got to, like when I was in CAMH, when I was telling you, they pull up my file. They're like, your parents never give you any medication since you're a child. And they explained that in the notes, it said that they refused to give me medication because this is not real. And I'm like, oh, okay. And when I asked my mom about it, she's like, you got to realize at the time we didn't know nothing about
It's
it.
different.
Yeah, it was
And
a
it's different. And it's a cultural thing to Ed. So
Yes.
when our parents, now it's a different time where we have so much availability of resources, but back then they possibly did the best they could with what they could at the time. But something that you also said that stood out to us is that the need to have people in your corner to support you,
Right.
right?
Yes.
And the need to have positive people to encourage you, because in the midst of you going through your crisis with the different medication and trying to figure out, you mentioned that Tina was able to support you and to stand with you.
Right.
So it's important to also have those kind of people in your life. So
Yeah.
thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
So Ed, with saying everything with your mom, what would you recommend to other parents or any parent with a child with a special need? What would you think would be something for them to know to support their children with special needs?
Be honest with your kids. Do not sign away from the questions. Have an open dialogue. Um, go to every appointment with your child, because that is the number one key in helping your child to better them to going along the process, and have a sit down conversation with you, with the child, and making a plan with the child and yourself and whoever around else, because it take a village to help each other. And if the village is not helping, it's going to crumble. And in my case, it did crumble, but it's now coming back together, because now everything is out there. Nobody's not hiding anything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And just following up on the parents, I mean, what would you say in general, just to people out there, about living, you having this diagnosis, having gone through the different stages, having gone through, experienced several different things. What would you say to people in general, just to think about anyone, a child or an adult with a disorder or a disability, a learning disability?
Be patient with your child. Learn who they are for them, accepting them for them. Be patient with yourself as well, because it's going to be harder when time goes by. Because if you don't be patient with yourself, you're going to lose it. And there's going to be a time where you don't know how to handle certain situations, but you just have to put it together, talk to your spouse, and say, okay, what is going to be next? Always pray. My mom always, the one thing I can remember my mom doing is she would stand over my bed and she would pray over me while I'm sleeping. And when she's noticed that I'm actually fully sleeping, she would close the door and then she would pray again at the outside of the door. And I, like, even now I miss that moment, because I know that she's praying, and she would, like, that was my I don't know how to explain it. It's like, there was one point I would, like, open my eyes and I see her over praying, and she just have her hand just praying over me.
Right.
And I feel like a sense of calm. Parents got to pray for their kids, even in the bedroom and out the bedroom.
Right.
Wow. That is powerful. And I'm having goosebumps.
I know.
You know, this week I actually saw something. It says that our grandmother's prayer are the reason why some of us are still here. And that say our grandmothers and our mothers, because, or any parent, our fathers, anyone, a caregiver, their prayers are the reason why we're still here. And absolutely the importance of prayer and covering. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Can you speak on any other support you think on a bigger level, such as the government, just to wrap up, that you think they could actually put in place to support children and families with children with special needs?
Passport funding is a great way to getting stuff for your kids, certain treatments,
Okay.
and there's certain activities that they could get to go on with that path for funding will cover. There is the tax credits for disabilities for your children. That is a must for yourself to getting back money for yourself, because of treatments alone is a lot of money, especially medications. There's your family doctor is number one key to getting into the system. You have to have a family doctor that is willing to work with. You have to have a doctor that you could trust, that you could that doctor knows you well, and you guys could have an open dialogue. And that's the only place to start with your family doctor. Second opinion, use that opportunity.
So, Ed, great information. It's been wonderful talking to you. We really applaud your courage and your openness to help us to facilitate this discussion, because it's not one that is easy to have with people sometimes in general who just don't know about the disorder and about, you know, living with it and life surrounding it. So we really thank you for giving us another perspective as an adult.
And I hope it helped you guys to.
It's very helpful.
Definitely. And our goal is just to educate people and to help them to understand, like, we're all different. Some of us need certain things, others need certain other things, and we should just appreciate everyone for who they are, and just, as you said, be patient, be understanding, and just love people for who they are and appreciate that. So we really thank you.
And also remember that ADHD every child with ADHD is different, and you guys could know with your children. One ADHD could be up here, another could be down here. So it's just learning where to meeting each other and understanding each other.
And I think it starts with really learning about the person and really understanding who they are, because like nobody's the same as the other. So thank you so much, Ed. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very good.
Very helpful.
You have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Ed, for that such thought-provoking conversation. And we hope once again, friends, that you have learned something new today. The hope is for us to come together to eliminate the stigma associated with ADHD. Be a voice for someone, break the barriers, and really see individuals with ADHD for who they are.
Absolutely. Our hope is that you can be more understanding of people with special needs, learn to love people for who they are, just accept them, be patient, be kind, and have people not feel like they're alone. I know that we have had many people reach out to us to say that they felt so alone until this topic was opened up and discussed by us. So our hope today is that people will no longer feel as if they're experiencing this all by themselves. Once again, Shan and Tam fam, we hope that you have learned something new from our discussion today. Until the next time, when we have another thought-provoking conversation, stay safe and be blessed. Thanks for watching the show today, Shan and Tam fam.
Ensure you hit the subscribe button, like, and share this video.
Send the link to a friend in WhatsApp, Facebook, or even Instagram, fam. And of course, don't miss when we post a new video, so hit that notifications button.
Also, check out the details box for this video for all the links for Shan and Tam's social media and blog pages.